How do you manage cravings? How low do calories get for bikini prep? Is how do you manage hunger? What were your highest building phase and lowest prep calories? So
next year we will be a new and better version of me, CZ Fit 2.0. Hey guys, so welcome back to my channel cz.fit here, and in today's video I thought I'd just do a quick Q&A on all things prep related. So I popped up a question box on my Instagram for you guys just to send in any questions you have. So we're just going to go through that, and later today I will be going down to King's Gym in Croydon for a leg session, so I will bring you guys along for that. Before we get started, please make sure to give this video a like and subscribe. We are so close to 10k. We're almost there. Like, this community is growing and it makes me so excited. And also, if you aren't following me on Instagram, then what are you doing with your life? cz.fit. Let's connect there. And yeah, now let's get started with the Q&A. So I'm just going to go through the responses now. So first one is, do you ever want to quit and just think this isn't for me? So this is obviously about prep and competing. Honestly, like my first season, I remember like it was I think 10 weeks out where I was like, should I just make up some excuse and be like, you know, I have to quit this prep because XYZ reasons. Perhaps I could blame it on COVID and everything. And you know, I think it's completely natural as humans to have those days. Like, we're not always going to be motivated. We're going to struggle through some days of prep, and those days really do challenge you, and they sometimes may make you question things like, you know, why are you putting yourself through this? Because it is a choice, right? So it's like, why am I choosing to feel this way? Why am I choosing to feel like I have no energy to, you know, have to skip out on some things and really kind of just like knuckle down and get through a prep? But at the same time, you know, like, I've realized that I freaking love the sport. Like, those tough days where you kind of question why you're doing it, and those days are the reasons why you kind of do it as well, like why you prep, because it's that challenge, right? It's like, once you get past the day, you realize just how much you can achieve and just how much you can kind of handle. And I think it's really rewarding to be like, wow, that was a struggle of a day, and it made me question if this sport even is for me, but I got through it, and because I did, it's so rewarding, and it just shows like how much I can handle as a human being. So I think, like, personally, yes, I have had those days, and I think it probably is relatable to most people who compete. Like, you're always going to have those days of like doubt or like wondering whether prep is for you. But I think those days when you get past them is what makes prep and competing so rewarding. Next question. What were your highest building phase and lowest prep calories? So in terms of off season, my highest calories were around 3,500. I can't remember the exact macros, and honestly, like, it became a bit of a struggle to get those down because I was still kind of on a meal plan. So obviously I wasn't opting for like junk food or any like highly processed foods that were very calorie dense. And looking back, I think, you know, next off season I would love to have more flexibility and probably just completely go on macros, just because then I think it's a lot easier to fit in more food and hit your calorie target without feeling overly full. Because I remember, like, I felt like I was force feeding for quite a few days towards the end of my bulk, although I still, like, I'm such a foodie that I still loved all the food and I wasn't complaining. I was like, I feel really bloated 24/7, I'm full of food, but I love it. And then my lowest prep calories, currently I'm on like 1,750, I think, around about that on training days, and then 1,300 something on rest days, which isn't like horrendous. I am hungry, but I have gotten quite used to it now, and like, I think the hunger was quite bad 2 weeks ago, but now my body's, I think, has just adjusted and it's not too bad. But I know that I am still like 9 weeks out, so those calories are probably going to be dropped. My lowest calories in last prep were, I think it was like 1,100 on rest days, and my carbs were quite low on those rest days. And then training days, I remember correctly, it was around like 1,300, 400. So yeah, but I just want to like clarify, this is completely for comp prep, and you have to do what is necessary to get you to the level of condition that you need for stage. So it's completely individual as to like how low calories would have to go. I know that, you know, 1,300 or like 1,400 is not very low compared to some people, but then it could be a lot lower compared to other people's preps. Like I know girls who are way below 1,000 calories. I know guys, like massive bodybuilders, who eat like 800 calories towards the end of prep. So it is completely individual. You will do what is necessary, like, and if that means like literally eating dirt, you will do that for the stage and for competing, but you wouldn't necessarily do that if you are on a lifestyle diet. So yeah, those were my kind of highest and lowest calories. I'm really hoping this next off season I can build it up higher than 3,500. That would be freaking amazing. But at the same time, I am a very small human. I'm like 5'4", quite small frame, so even 3,500 was quite a lot for me. So next question, will you continue competing if you ever have to work at the office? How do you balance prep and work? It looks like you're working from home, so we'll just address the first question. Will you continue competing if you ever have to work at the office? Yeah, so I think I would. Like, I love competing. It's something that gives me so much joy. I do think once the office opens fully and I can go in and actually like experience full-time corporate work and enjoy all the things that come with it, for example like going out afterwards for drinks or like for food with colleagues and just kind of living a more normal life, I think it would make competing harder. And that's kind of also why I do want to take like a decent off season to just kind of enjoy all the other aspects of life. Like, you know, prep is something that can be quite consuming in terms of the time, and like it is quite a selfish sport in the fact that you do, I wouldn't say you have to give up things, because I don't like that term, because you're not, it is your choice, but you do have to kind of prioritize prep, your training, sleep, recovery, food over your social life or like social occasions. And I'm not saying you can't have a social life, but it is a bit different. So when I do end up working from the office, I would like to have a decent off season where, you know, life's a bit more chill. I can just enjoy drinks or food here and there with my colleagues and not have to think about, you know, being on prep or being so on track. I think it would be nice just to have some time off. And then how do you balance prep and work? It looks like you're working from home. Yes, so I think sometimes you simply cannot have balance. And I know it sounds like, oh, but you preach balance and all that, and yes, but when it comes to bodybuilding, there really isn't balance. So with prep and work, honestly, like I have given up a lot of my own time, like personal time, social life time just to relax, to prioritize prep, to get my steps in, to get my morning cardio, to get my workouts in, to get my post-workout cardio in, to get all my food in, my meal preps and everything, and then to, you know, do my 9 to 5 and then do my online coaching, my social media, YouTube, all that. So I would say, like, currently at this stage of my life, especially with prep and everything, I haven't really had that much balance. But for me, I know that, like, with what I want in my future, that right now is not the time for balance, and I am okay with that. Like, I think there is a time in life where you have to push, and there are times in life where you pull back and you create more balance for yourself. And right now, I think, you know, I'm in a phase where I just want to grow. Like, I want to grow my career, I want to grow as a person and accelerate that, and like it's hard to fit everything in. So right now, you know, I'm taking a step back with relaxing with my social life and all those other aspects to really kind of just go full on with my career and bodybuilding and the sport. But in, you know, a few years time after this prep, I think, you know, I would like to kind of pull back on prep and all of that. Bodybuilding will still be a main part of my life, but with off season, I would like to pull back on that a little bit, have a bit more balance, and then incorporate more like social life, more, you know, time for myself, and then just prioritize business and social life. So yeah, I would say like balance is sometimes very hard to have at all times in your life, and I think that's okay too. Do you think you've done what the judges said you need to improve on in off season? So the judges' feedback last season was to essentially just come in slightly tighter, a bit more doubts, and I honestly think like my doubts definitely have grown. They're still not the size that I would like them to be. Like, I'm still very small, but I have really just like hammered my shoulders at this off season. It hasn't been a very long off season, I understand that, and a lot of it was in lockdown. So in terms of like how much I wanted to grow, perhaps I didn't reach that full potential that I could have if I had, you know, the gym and everything, and if I had a longer off season. But I do think I am bringing in a different package this year. Definitely a lot more muscle has been built, and this is something that I have been quite insecure about, and you know, it has caused me a lot of self-doubt during this prep in terms of like if I made the improvements that I have needed to make, or if I'm just going into another prep looking the same. And honestly, that was really stressing me out a little until my last check-in. And like, I know my coach has said this a few times, but for me, you know, I think like no matter how many times someone else tells you something, you have to believe it in yourself. But last check-in, he was like, look, I'm so excited to see what you bring on stage this year. Like, you definitely have put on a lot of muscle. Your 53 kgs right now physique looks completely different to 53 kgs last year, and you know, I don't think you're going to be anywhere near your stage weight last year, which was around 45 kgs, 46 kgs. He said, you know, I think you will be significantly heavier, which is obviously a good thing because it means I put on more muscle. So that was really comforting to hear. Obviously, I'm still going to have that self-doubt, and I think it's just something I have to just like step away from and be like, look, you have given your off season everything. I really have. So like, you know, I just have to trust the process and know that, you know, I have done everything in my power, and that's all you really can do, you know, just give everything your all. Yeah, so next question. Do you ever snack when prepping? I have a hard time giving up chips. So on prep, no, like I follow my meal plan to a T. Like I would never ever cheat on my diet. I don't think I could live with myself if I did. And it's just because like, I don't know, it's like you're putting yourself through so much already, right? Like your food's already quite low. You've got your cardio, you've got your training, you're nailing everything. It's like, I would never want to screw any of that up by snacking here and there, or just kind of falling off my meal plan, or just, you know, cheating on my diet, because at the end of the day, that's just going to pull me further away from my goal. And I'm going to be on stage regardless, and I want to do my best regardless. So if I was to cheat on my diet, then I'm just kind of doing myself a massive disfavor. I don't want to have to put myself through any more torture, I guess, or like, you know, more cardio, less food, because I messed up on my diet or I cheated on my diet. So that's something that I would never do. And I think like if you have a hard time giving up some foods, or if you find yourself snacking here and there, I think you just have to ask yourself, how much do you care about your goals? If you care about them enough, you will do whatever it takes to get there, and you won't cheat on your diet or do other things that don't realign with your goals. And when it comes to cravings, like something that I know a lot of people ask is like, how do you manage your cravings? And it's like, well, obviously as humans, we are always going to crave like yummy foods. Who am I kidding? I would love a burger right now. I would love a pizza, but I would love a donut. I walk past donut time every day to and from the gym. But at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, like, is your craving for, say, a donut stronger than your craving to succeed? And if it is, okay, go have your donut, enjoy yourself. And so for me, my goal to just bring my absolute best onto stage is a lot stronger than my wish for a donut right now. Like, I can have a donut whenever I want to after my show. I have my whole life, my whole off season to enjoy all the foods I want to, but right now that's not my goal. Those actions are not aligned with my goals, so I'm not going to do that. So yeah, that is my answer, a very long-winded answer. Next question, what's the first thing you're eating after the finals? Excited to see you. I am freaking excited to see you too. So the first thing I'm eating, far out, there is so much I want. Like, I just want to stuff my face again. So I really want like a massive giant cookie. Like, I want to try that cookie dough box. I can't remember what they're called, but they make these like massive giant slices of like cookies. It's like a massive cookie pie thing. I would absolutely love that. Oh, I'm just checking the time. Okay, yeah, I just need to leave soon. I would absolutely love to just like take a massive bite out of that. Like, it's so big that I don't think I could just like, I don't think I could fit it all in my mouth, and I want that feeling of being like, I can't fit it in my mouth. That kind of sounds wrong, but you know what I mean. Then like, I want to bite into it and just have it so overly sugary that it just empowers like all my taste buds. And I want some like cream or like something just oozing out of it, like, I don't know, Biscoff or like melted chocolate or something. And then I would love, I don't know, like savory foods I never really crave that much. It's always just the sweet foods, but I think like a really juicy nice burger, like a nice greasy burger, but I also know it's gonna make me feel like utter crap, and that's what I had, I think, after my first show. And the next morning I was like, ugh, because I had way too much sugar and the burger and just like donuts and everything. And then after my second show, PCA, I went out to like a nice restaurant, had like decent food, well, like decent in terms of just like nicely cooked food. I think I had like rice with like I think it was like duck, and then spring rolls, and then like sweet potato fries, and then Alia, she made me banana cake, and we had that, and then I had like some chocolate and cookies here and there. So still quite a lot of food, but it wasn't, I guess, as like greasy and like oily, so I didn't feel as crap the next morning. So yeah, I'm not sure exactly which road I'm going to take, whether I'm going to take the nice pretty dress up restaurant with like, you know, gourmet food, or if I'm just gonna go and have like a greasy pizza and like all the sweets possible. We'll see how I feel. I do have a lot of time, and I do have a few shows I think lined up, at least 2. So we have 2 post-show meals ready, so I can go for both options. I really want a massive cookie, yeah, and a donut. I just want everything. Do you think everyone can prep? So honestly, I think prepping and bodybuilding, competing, I think it's for particular people. Like, I don't think everyone would enjoy it because it does consume you, it takes a lot out of you, and I think you have to be in the right mind space to prep. And what I mean by that is, firstly, you should have a decent relationship with food. If you are struggling currently with an eating disorder or any disordered type of eating, I don't think you should prep. If you struggle with like body image, body dysmorphia, or anything that's impacting you daily, prepping is the last thing I would say to do, because it will just skew your relationship or approach towards food even more, especially post-show and afterwards. And also body dysmorphia. Like, I know so many people who go into competing completely fine and they come out of it with like eating disorders, body dysmorphia, and just a very kind of confused state towards, you know, how their body looks, how they approach food, how they eat, because it is very intense. So in terms of, do you think everyone can prep? No, I don't think prep is for everyone. I don't think competing is for everyone. And do you think some people shouldn't who have, so I'm guessing, like, do you think some people shouldn't have prepped who have prepped? Honestly, like, each to their own. I'm not one to judge, and I don't really follow anyone's like prep that closely, or like, you know, no one really comes into mind when I think of like prepping, like, oh, they shouldn't have prepped. I think like if it's something that brings you happiness, if you are in the right place at the moment in terms of like your mindset, your mental health, your physical health, then go for it and prep. Like, I don't think, you know, I wouldn't really ever sit there and be like, oh, she shouldn't have prepped. I think, you know, if it's what brings you joy, then go for it. So we have a few more questions. I'm gonna actually head off to the gym now. We're gonna go to King's, and then I'll be back with the rest of the questions. I just thought like me sitting here for the whole video is a bit like, you know, it's like, let's change things up a bit. Let's bring you to the gym, let's get a workout in, and then we'll come back with the rest of the questions. But I hope you guys are enjoying this, and I hope it gives you guys better insight into what prep is and answers some of your questions that you are curious about. But yeah, I will see you guys at the gym and then back here.
Rip.
Hey guys, so back from the gym and I am freaking freezing. It is almost June in London and I don't know what this weather's doing, but it's actually like, it feels like December. I'm not even kidding. It honestly feels like midwinter. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed snippets of that workout. I freaking love that gym so much. Like the atmosphere, the people there, is just such a nice like environment to train in. I just wish it was closer to London because going there and back literally takes like the whole day. Anyways, we'll get back to the Q&A now. So the next question is, how do you manage hunger? So if we're talking prep, there are definitely ways where you can try minimize your hunger or not feel it as badly, but part of prep is like just knowing that you're signing up to be hungry, waking up in the middle of the night hungry, not being able to sleep. All that kind of just comes with prep because essentially you are pretty much starving yourself. You're pretty much signing up for that. But there definitely are hacks. So what I usually do when the hunger does start to kick in during prep is I drink so much sparkling water. Towards the end of prep, I don't really, just because the carbonated water does kind of make my stomach go a bit funny, but the sparkling water itself, like, it does help you feel fuller because obviously you're putting gas into your stomach. Yeah, I mean, carbon dioxide. That sounded really weird, you're putting gas in your stomach, but you know what I mean? Like, it's really bubbly, and when you have it alongside a meal, it does make you feel a lot fuller. Also, even like sugar-free water. Obviously, like the sugar-free water and the flavorings doesn't make you feel less hungry, but it does make me feel more satisfied in the fact that it feels like I'm having a nice sugary drink alongside my meal. And you can also get sparkling sugar-free water as well. So from Sainsbury's, they have like a really nice range of sparkling flavored water. I think there's one that's like mango and passion fruit, which is really nice. Even Tesco's, they all do them, and it's like 1 calorie per 100 milliliters. So pretty much like no calories in there. I usually go for those drinks if I am feeling particularly like say peckish, like if I have any sweet cravings, or if I am just really hungry and I want to feel fuller, and if I just want to have that kind of bloated, really full feeling. And another thing is just shortening my eating window. I will push back my first meal till around like 10 a.m, 10:30 a.m. if I can do so. Essentially, I feel like, again, I'm eating more because I have a shorter period of time to eat it, and like usually my last meal will be around like 7 to 8 p.m. So if I can reduce my eating window from say 10:30 to 7 p.m. rather than saying like having my first meal at 6 a.m. or 7 a.m. when I do wake up, it definitely does make me feel like I am eating a lot more. And that's just kind of like a regular diet tip anyways. Like if you feel like you are hungry during the day, or you feel like you're not eating that much because you're dieting or something, just reducing your eating window can mentally make you feel like you are eating a lot more than you really are. And then, as I said at the start, like hunger is kind of a part of competing. It's very different from a lifestyle diet. Obviously extreme hunger isn't great, and you definitely need to kind of come out of that diet if you are just starving, and it's probably a sign to like reverse diet or like try to bring up your calories higher before you go back into a dieting phase. But with prep, like that's not the case, and you kind of just do have to suck it up in a way. And the second question is related, so how do you manage cravings? I mentioned this earlier, but I just remind myself, like, you know, what do I crave more, my goal or my cravings for something sugary? And that kind of like does it for me. But at the same time, like, because I'm on a meal plan and because I have been eating the same foods for quite a while and I have foods that I love on my meal plan, it gets to a point where I really don't crave anything because I'm just so laser focused on my goals. Once you stop having particular foods for a while, you kind of don't crave it because you haven't had it for a while and you forget, I guess, what it tastes like. So I don't really have any cravings at the moment. I am so laser focused on prep that I don't really think too much about food. My food focus is actually quite low. How low do calories get for bikini prep? As low as they need to be, really. Like, that's pretty much the case. Like, they get as low as they have to be for you to be stage ready. And that's why it's so important to have a good off season to really build up your calories, so that even when they do go as low as they need to be, ideally they won't have to get too low. If you can start off at a much better place. If you could tell a first time competitor one thing, what would it be? That's actually such a good question. Wow. I think like it would definitely be, don't stalk. I mean, like, okay, it's fine to, like, you know, stalk other girls who are competing and connect with them and all that, but please don't compare yourself to anyone. If you start comparing yourself to another girl who's at your show or whatever, like, it can get to your head. And, you know, if you're comparing what they're eating to how much you're eating, their cardio to your cardio, their physique to your physique, their posing to your posing, you're just going to, like, mentally tear yourself down. And at the end of the day, I think competing has to be just you versus you, because you can only have control over that. Like, there is no point comparing yourself to any other girl, because that's not going to change what happens on show day, right? Like, it's really just up to you doing the best that you can, and it's always going to be you against yourself. So, like, I think the biggest tip is just don't really focus on what anyone else is doing, just focus on yourself. And then another tip is definitely the post-show phase. So I think definitely mentally preparing yourself to understand that post-show for like 99% of people will be the hardest, and just understanding that, like, on social media people may not talk about it, people may not highlight the fact that they really are struggling, but a lot of people do struggle with post-show, and it's completely okay if you are, because one thing, like, you are probably still going to be hungry for a long time after your show, even though your food's higher. The cravings will kick in, your hormones are completely out of whack, right? And because you lose that tangible goal of being on stage and that accountability and that structure and routine that you've had for prep, it is very easy to, you know, start binging, just feel very controlled by food, have all these different cravings just rushing around. And like, my biggest tip would just be, give yourself time, and please be kind to yourself, and understand that you are not weak for feeling that way, because, like, it is so natural. You have dieted for so long, restricted for so long, you've put your body through something that it does not like. So please don't, like, be too hard on yourself for struggling. Like, it's completely okay. Speak to your coach, speak to people, other competitors. I'm always here, like, my DMs are always open. I completely understand. I struggled quite a lot after my first show. You know, I was really confused about how to even just eat intuitively. Like, it was confusing to me. My off plans were massive cheat meals. But yeah, we learned through those experiences. So definitely just, like, be kind to yourself. And also, like, I didn't do this and I'm really glad I didn't, but don't buy like shitloads of food before your show. Don't be that person who hoards all this food just for post show, because if you end up buying shitloads of food and stocking it up, you're going to go through it within like a heartbeat after show, and it's not going to be the best feeling. Buy food after your show if you really want it. Buy snacks as you go, but please don't have like a pantry full of snacks waiting for you, because it's not going to end well. Those are probably my tips for a first time competitor. And then I think also just enjoy yourself. Like, show day is going to go so fast. Even prep, like, those hard days are going to test you, but you know, like it will go in a blink. Before you know it, you will be done with prep, you'll be done with your first show. So please just like enjoy every moment of it. And then next question, what is the goal weight for stage? So there is no goal weight. Like bikini competing, there is no set like stage weight at all. It's just how you look, really. So I don't have an ideal weight at all, but I do know that my last stage weight was around 45 to 46 kgs, so I'm hoping it will be a lot higher this year just because I have built on muscle. My coach thinks that I still have around like 5 kgs to lose, and I'm sitting at around 53 kgs right now. So with that in mind, probably around like 48 kgs this year. So that will be really interesting, actually seeing what my stage weight is, just to see like how much muscle I have kind of managed to put on during lockdown and training at home. And then final question, which I really love actually, what were you like before competing and do you like yourself better now? I'm gonna answer this soon, but I just need to get my chicken out of the oven because I think it's burning. Well, not burning, I think it's just getting really dry. Hello, we are back and I have saved my chicken from burning in the oven. Our last question was, what were you like before competing and do you like yourself better now? So what was I like before competing? Honestly, I think I was a lot more spontaneous, and that's something that I do want to bring back, because right now I think competing made me fall into a very rigid, kind of structured, routinic kind of person, if that's the word. Like I really rely on routine, structure. It's almost to a point where it's a bit OCD, I think. So before competing, I think I was a lot more spontaneous, did more kind of like silly things, I guess, here and there. I did a lot of traveling as well, but I guess that's just due to COVID. It was quite like carefree, but I guess with competing, like it is kind of the opposite. Like everything is pretty much planned. You have to plan ahead, prep your meals, get your workouts in routine, sleep at the same time, you know, wake up around the same time. So before competing, I think I was much more carefree. I definitely had a lot more time on my hands. I think I was much more social, and like that's not necessarily like a bad thing, the fact that I'm less social now. I think there's a time and place for everything. So as much as, you know, I love those days of just going out a lot and like being really spontaneous and not having as much structure in my life, I do also love this kind of new way of living right now. But I think I would love to ideally have more of a balance. But I think, again, as I said before, during prep I can't have that balance, but afterwards, like in my off season, I would like to find that like middle ground again, because I do miss how I used to be in my younger days, or like before competing, and it was like loads of fun just being spontaneous and being a lot more social and going out more. So I think that's kind of what I was like before competing. And in terms of like fitness and everything, it was still a big part of my life. I still would hit the gym, still was like tracking macros anyways, because I just enjoyed having a goal and working towards it. But I was a lot more loose in terms of like, you know, I would go out for food a lot more. It was pretty much a similar lifestyle I am living now in terms of fitness, but a lot more loose, I guess. And then, do I like myself better now? So I wouldn't say I like myself better now. I think I like some traits that I have picked up and some habits that I have created from competing. For example, just like developing a lot more discipline. Competing really requires you to be disciplined, to have grit, to, you know, set a goal and be able to have laser focus to get there. So I really love the fact that I have been able to really bring that up within myself. But at the same time, I must say that I think there are a lot of things that I kind of miss from my past self that I feel like I have sort of neglected since I started competing. And I think also since I started like my full-time job and my side hustle, like I have really let go of a lot of social elements in my life. I have, I guess per se, given them up to pursue my career, to grow it, to do, you know, bodybuilding and everything. So as I have mentioned a few times in this video, like I think I would love to kind of just have that part of me back again. It's really crazy sometimes when I reflect on how different I am now, especially having moved to London compared to when what I used to be like back at home in Auckland, New Zealand. I was so much more of a carefree person. I think it's also the environment. Like in New Zealand, everyone is so chill. I wouldn't say you're less ambitious, but you definitely have much more of a balanced lifestyle. Like when I see what my friends are still doing, like they're going out so often, they have much more of a social life, whereas then when I compare to my life here and my friends here, everyone's just hustling and working 24/7, and it just feels like we can never like just catch a break and just calm down, and like none of us ever have time for each other. Sometimes I just struggle finding time to chill with my friends and have a movie night. Like it's genuinely like you have to plan 2 months in ahead, whereas back at home I just feel like it was so easy to do like spontaneous weekends, go to the beach, just chill, have a movie night, and not really be stressing. But yeah, I think I've rambled on a bit about this question, and I don't think I'm really answering the question anymore. But yeah, so do I like myself better now? Nah, I just think there are there are good elements now, and there are also some elements that I still want to improve on. But yeah, so those were all the questions that I got through Instagram. I hope that you guys enjoyed this sit down Q&A. Thank you guys so much for coming along. Like honestly, all your comments and your support doesn't go unnoticed. Also, let me know like what else you want to see through this prep series, because your girl's running out of ideas, because as I said, prep is quite routinic. But actually, next week, I'm actually filming a promo video for my new platform, my new training platform. So I might try to vlog that actually and bring you guys along to the behind the scenes. Everything's coming together, like it's crazy. It's been pretty much half a year of work. Anyways, have a fabulous rest of your night or day wherever you are, and I will see you guys very soon. Bye!